This series just means a lot to me. I'm already tearing up just talking about it. Not for everyone. The cicadas are going crazy. Hello everyone, my name is Leah. Welcome back to the channel. This is an ode to fiction. So today I'm back with another video, a very fun video that I saw was done by Our Books with Leo. She is one of the YouTubers that I watch. I really like their videos. Probably last week I saw them doing a video about the 5 books that define my literary taste, and I've seen this video going around on Instagram. I don't use TikTok. I saw it going around Instagram most of the time on Reels about people picking 5 books that define their reading taste. From what Leo said, I completely agree that you cannot really define a reading taste in just like a 5-second video. I feel like you need to explain your reading taste because reading tastes are very subjective from person to person. Leo lists 5 criteria for her reading taste, so I did too. I have my notebook here. I have written everything down about the 5 books that define my reading taste. So the first one that I wrote here is series or standalones with amazing character growth. I said it in multiple reviews of mine that characters mean a lot to me. They fuel my motivation to read a certain book. It is very important to me to like the character in order to continue on with the story. I like seeing character journeys from the start of their life or during the start of the story until the end, and I like to see significant growth in their characterizations. I like to see their personalities evolve. I like their views change. I like to see how the trajectory of their life just changed completely because of a certain incident. Okay, the second one is beautiful prose with out of the box concept in storytelling. Beautiful prose is very subjective person to person, and I feel like a lot of people think that when people say beautiful prose, it's purple prose or like poetic writing, and for me it is that, but it also not that because it's very subjective from person to person. Some people like very dry, direct prose. Some people really like pretty writing that is poetic and atmospheric. But for me, this category is catered to a certain book that I read last year that really hits the nail on out-of-the-box storytelling. It is not like any other books that I've read. The third thing that I've listed is quiet books that are reflective and relatable. Quiet books are books with low stakes. It is a book that is not plot driven, it is mostly character driven. It is books that does not have high stakes. By this I mean, for example, it's not the end of the world, it is not during a war, or there is someone in danger and you need to save someone. No, it is just like things that happen in a character's life and you're just seeing it. It's not big in significance of the world, it's big in the development of the character or in the lifetime of this character. This is something that I've recently discovered and understood about myself, because last year I mainly read a lot of epic fantasy and I felt that I need to chill out this year, and I just discovered this about myself, and I keep picking up like very easy books, very calming books, very reflective books. So next is the 4th one, and it is the complete opposite of the 3rd one, and it is heart-thumping, fast-paced, battle-raging epic fantasy. At its core, it is something that I still love. I love books with very hard-hitting battle scenes, and I love books that have very high stakes. And then the 5th one is translated fiction. I only read fiction. Sometimes I pick up non-fiction, but my preference is towards fiction book. And I've come to realize that translated fiction is something that I really want to dive deeper into. I feel like that translated fiction is so much important in this day and age. So much more books besides the books that are written from people that speak the English language, because there are so many languages around the world and so many books that are waiting to be discovered. And there are certain publishers, that indie publishers actually, that realize this, and they are publishing books and translating these books into English for the Western audience. And I feel that it is just amazing. And for me, as someone from Southeast Asia, I really want to read more books from other countries in Southeast Asia and other parts of Asia. I really want to diversify my reading and reading other works of literature from these other countries. So yeah, those are my 5 categories for books that define my literary taste. So let's head on to the first one. And the first one, I mentioned a series or books with amazing character growth. The book that I'll pick for this is The Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. This is the first book, Jade City. I have the sequel, Jade War and Jade Legacy as well. This is the Illumicrate special edition. The reason why I picked The Greenbone Saga is because this is a series that really define this category. A lot of the characters in this series have grown. I basically grew up with all of these characters. I've seen them grow from the first, second, and then the third book. I've seen a lifetime of their life. I've seen like every part of their life. I feel like they are part of my family now, and it is a series that I will go back on and I will think about for a very long time. There are a lot of things that stand out in the series besides its characters, like the amazing world building, the politics, and then the relationships between the characters. I have to say, one of the characters that really stood out in the series is the Call family, and you get to see each and every person in this family just grow and form a stronger relationship with each other and expand their family, celebrate the happiness and just mourn the tragedies that have fallen upon this family. Fonda Lee is a genius. She is ruthless with her characters. Fonda Lee's character is just masterclass. I can't really compare it to any other character that I've read in literature, but I went through the stages of grief when I read this series. I cried my eyes out. This series just means a lot to me. I'm already tearing up just talking about it. The second category is beautiful prose with out-of-the-box concept and storytelling. I said it before that the second prompt is for a specific book, and it is The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. Simon Jimenez is an American Filipino author. This is their debut book. It is a sci-fi space opera standalone that I just discovered in 2021. Everything about this book is truly amazing. Simon Jimenez's ability and storytelling is unlike any other. The Vanished Birds is a story that I can't really explain. Even the synopsis doesn't do it justice, because it really covers a lot of things and it covers a lot of characters in the story. It follows multiple point of views of characters in different places of the world. It is set in space. It covers a lot of themes in the story, and what I would like to highlight in this story is how Simon Jimenez crafted this story and the way he writes. His prose is out of this world. There is an originality in the storytelling of Simon Jimenez. I understand that this probably needs to also connect with other books, but I've never read this kind of storytelling before besides in Simon Jimenez. So I hope to find more writers that are kind of like Simon Jimenez, and I want to read other genres besides sci-fi. This book is one of my most favorite books of all time because of how Simon Jimenez writes. The way Simon Jimenez writes is just so good. But I have to say that it is very out there. It is different from the normal storytelling. Whenever I read a certain book, I get to predict how the story goes just by seeing how the author writes the characters. But with Simon Jimenez's case, you get surprised with every turn. So you have to really read this book with an open mind. If you like very like a fixed structured story, you will not like The Vanished Birds, I feel. I understand that a lot of people rave this book on Twitter. What I feel like that needs to be mentioned is that this book is not for everyone. Like I said before, if you read more books that are more traditional and more like that has a very fixed structure and you already have an expectation in how the story will go, you will not like this book. This book comes with a lot of warning. So the third prompt is quiet books that are reflective and relatable. I have a few books lined up, and the first one is A Psalm for the Wild Build by Becky Chambers. This is the first book that came to mind for me when I think about quiet books. It is a story about a monk that is rediscovering themselves from being a monk that lives in a monastery to a traveling tea monk. But then one day this monk is having an identity crisis, so they went into the wilderness. The monk meets a robot. Becky Chambers really knows how to write a reflective story where you just reflect on your life and your being and your goals in life, who you are as a person, what makes you a person. I feel like Becky Chambers is really good at writing these kinds of stories. For fantasy, I know there will be multiple books in this category because I can't really just narrow it down into one sci-fi book. I feel like I need other books as well if you like different genres. The second one is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. It is about a mercenary that has retired from the life of violence to open up a cafe, and in the story the main character just reflects on her life and relearns how to make friends and be in society and learn about the hardships of opening a business and just the fear that is tied with pivoting from what you are familiar with. And then the other one is for fantasy, The Empress of Salt and Fortune, specifically the Singing Hills cycle. This series follows another monk, actually, a monk that collects stories to be recorded into history. So any kind of stories from the people in the society or that have significance in the world. In Empress, Salt and Fortune, I felt like it's more low stakes because it's just a story about this monk just looking at things and the stories that come with these things that are connected with the Empress. That is told by her former servant. It is very quiet, it's very peaceful, it's very atmospheric, the story as well. It is just a story about listening to someone telling stories. It's just so good. So that's why I categorize that book as a quiet book. And then for literary fiction, the first one is Tennis Lessons by Susanna Dickey. This story is about a girl that is coming of age. You get to see glimpses of her life from her younger self to up until she's full-fledged adult. So this story follows the ups and downs in her life and all the mundane things that she does. It also tackles a lot of themes about her life, the struggles she goes through in her life, and all these significant incidences that shapes her as a person. It is a story that thrives on writing about the ordinary things in life and how ordinary people function and how you embrace this ordinary life. And it's also very funny, and there's like a good female friendship in there. And then the other one for literary fiction, I have a translated book, and it is The Housekeeper and the Professor by Yoko Ogawa. I recently read this book, and when I think about quiet books, I think about this book because it's so peaceful. It captures a certain part of the life of this housekeeper where she works for this household that hired her to clean the house of a professor that was once a professor in a university that suffers from short-term memory loss after a very bad accident that affected his brain. And this professor is a very brilliant mathematician. He doesn't remember memories that well, but he does remember math theories and equations. So you get to see the relationship between this housekeeper and her son, and with this professor. The story's so good. I felt very at peace just reading it, because it's you get to see the beauty in numbers. I'm not a person that really likes math, but reading this book made me like math. And then the fourth prompt is heart-thumping epic fantasy. There's a lot of books that can be categorized in this prompt. Also, besides it being epic fantasy, I like to read about diverse and queer epic fantasies. I feel like this is a bonus. This epic fantasy is queer and diverse, because a lot of books in epic fantasy are written by white authors, and sometimes it's not very queer in my opinion. But I've seen like a lot of modern fantasy now. It's much more queer and much more diverse. It is written by multiple authors of color. You just have to look. For this prompt, I picked my all-time favorite book. It is A Master of Djinn by P. Djeli Clark. This is the first full-length novel in the series, because before P. Djeli Clark, he started off writing short stories and then a novella, 2 novellas, and then he finally wrote the full-length novel that is A Master of Djinn. It follows Agent Fatma. Agent Fatma, she works for the Ministry of Alchemy, Enchantments, and Supernatural Entities, and the story is set in a reimagined modern Cairo in the year 1912. It's very steampunk, and the main character is Sapphic. There is a Sapphic relationship depicted in this story. It follows Agent Fatma trying to crack open a case that involves a certain character that is up to no good. This world is very vivid. The way P. Djeli Clark's write worlds and characters is very good and astounding. It is one of my favorite books. It has some of the best depictions that I've read in fantasy, and it is so original. The writing is like no other. It's so witty, it's so fun. It is just truly amazing. And the cover, look at this cover. Also, this is an award-winning series, so you better pick it up. The other one, it is a self-pub book, and it is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. This is a standalone. So The Sword of Kaigen is a story about this one community of warriors that is legendary for their skills of the blade, and they all have their own distinct styles that are passed down from their family, and they live on this island that is on the coast of the borders in the Kaigenese Empire, and they are prone to invasions back in the day, so they have a lot of warriors on this island. And this story is very heart-thumping. It is very high stakes, because one day the enemies that were once invading their country is attacking this island out of a sudden, and all the warriors come out to defend their empire. But there's also other things. There's also conspiracies in the core of it. It is about family and the relationship about this woman and her husband and their son. It is one of the best fantasy standalones that I've ever read. The depiction of this female character is very much amazing. You definitely feel how intense the stakes are in this story. To be honest, I had to put it down for a few times because it is just so intense. It also has some of the best battle scenes with swords. And then I have a recent one that I read, and that is the Tensorate Series. Each book is under 200 pages, and there are 4 books in this series. And these 4 books are all very good. It's very well done. Even though the stories are short, the scale of the world is very epic. There is some very good battle scenes in here involving a naga. The story of the Tensorate series is about twins that are trying to overthrow an empire that is run by their dictator-ish mother. Fun, isn't it? It is very queer. It is very diverse because the author is, I think they are from Singapore. It is written by a trans author. In this world, being trans is part of the world because everyone is born genderless and they get to pick their own gender. It is just amazing. There is a polyamorous relationship in this one as well. Also, in the 3rd and 4th book, the storytelling takes a huge pivot from the 1st and 2nd. Highly recommend you read this. Another standalone, it is Kaikeyi by Vaishnavi Patel. It follows Kaikeyi, one of the Empress that is known to be very villainized in the Hindu epic. It is a story about this woman that is defying God and defying her destiny for her to define herself and what her trajectory in life is. This one is also very amazing, as some of the best incorporations of stories and stories. The world is very epic. There is gods, scheming, political people. There is just everything included in this book. It is just so good. And then the 5th prompt, the final prompt, is translated fiction. The first one is Happy Stories Mostly by Norman Erickson Pasaribu, translated by Tiffany Sao. Norman Erickson Pasaribu is an Indonesian poet, writer. He is queer. In this collection of short stories, Norman writes about, in this story, it just like the title, it is stories about happiness, but not really happiness, because it also laced with tragedy and just sadness, because not all happy stories ends with pure happiness. Sometimes the happy ending is not really happy, it's actually very tragic. It is not essentially focusing on the queer people in the story. It focuses on the people that are around the queer characters, and I find that with each story you get to see how masterful Norman Erickson Pasaribu writes the story. I wrote a review for this book. It really made me reflect whenever I read this book. Tiffany Sao's translations conveyed the story really well. Happy Stories Mostly is a really underrated book. I think everyone should read this book. It was longlisted for the Booker Prize. Some of my favorite short stories in this book are, So What's Your Name, Sandra? Second one is The Story of the Giant, and Ad Moiram de Gloriam. It also tackles about religion and what it is to being queer and religious at the same time. Also, this book is published by Tilted Axis. Most of their publications are translated fiction by authors from around the world. The next one is The Days of Abandonment by Elena Ferrante. It is translated from Italian. It is a book that I recently read. It is a story about a woman that was left by her husband for a younger woman, and it is her trying to come into terms to being abandoned by her husband, just like the title. It is very harrowing. It is very sad, tragic, but it's also very hopeful at the same time. I really liked Elena Ferrante's writing. I could not praise Elena Ferrante's writing enough because she's just such an amazing writer. The next one is M by Kim Dui. This is a literary fiction written by a Vietnamese writer that has been translated from Vietnamese. It is a story about people that has been affected by the Vietnam War, people that are moving from Vietnam to America, and the stories of just people moving. Truly amazing writing. I think it's under 150 pages. I finished it like in a day. I really liked it. It really left an impression on me. The cicadas are going crazy. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video right here. Please pick up all these books because these books are some of my favorite books. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you get to know me more as you understand what kind of books that I really like. And these are all the books that really define me, and these are the books that I really sought for, that I look for. I like to read a lot of adult fiction from what you see here. Hopefully I can come back with another video for you all. I hope you enjoy everything. I hope enjoy your weekend. You can find me on my socials below. I'm mostly on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram as well at an ode to fiction. You can follow my reviews on my blog anodetofiction.com. Let me know if you like any of these books. Let me know if any of these books you are interested in. If you need an in-depth thoughts about these reviews, you can leave a comment down below, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.